They move like this. One space forward only. Like this. They like the front line. They be out in the field. How do you get the movement? It ain't like that. See, the king, stay the king. Stay who he is. That's the pawn. The pawn, stayed all the way down to the other two sides. You get to be queen. Like I said, the queen movement.
Hey, yo, Self, man, let me talk my shit on this one, man. They think this is game, man. Let's go. Miss me with it when the going gets tough. Naga don't move, I stand still. Yea, though I walk through the valley with grace, my enemies fall by the wayside. Persecute me, not get down and lay down. I fear none but the Most High. Death shadow don't move me, comfort this mind. Say, demon, who you fooling? Step back and give me 6 feet shit. Social distance when you come around me. Don't make me rebuke you and send you back to whence you came. I'm a priest king from the order of Melchizedek. I demand respect to me, you're nothing. Every move you make, checkmate, not giving my crown. I'm calling your bluffing, yeah. From the belly of the beast, we break on through. Real talk can't hold my pressure. A remnant returning, cup bearing with truth. Our ancient love song calling. Gon' dial me up at 432. Direct connection with the creator. No call, no waiting. Roll of thunder gon' hear my cry by the way that a naga vibrating. So enough in sync with above the barrier. There's a god beneath the firmament. My dragon waiting. Hold tight, 9 spiral. Can't wait to ride out on high decks. I've been patient, yourself, let's go.
Living under primary realm, I gather my thoughts like Shep, trusting him, Elohim. This ruach won't be condemned. In this matrix, I'm only here as step. EMF breaker, knocker down, so I press the ancestors chose ancestors, the visions of Taohi, crowning a large multitude. He spoke of the end of times. Now Revelation speaks of him who Taohi has stood on Mount Zion, crowning in the name of 144. In the name of on their voice, phantoms and duplicates, typology, symbolism at play. For a while, as I said there, I said, hey, 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 there's no way to heaven, no burden is unstoppable to slay. Let the cold lead the way, show the tribe the only way to the fruit of immortality. Overstand that empty things are for the empty, full things are for the full. So from the hand to the hill, search for nothing else. My people, nothing behind else. You're feeling me? Baruch are those who are alive and keep the hope. Those in vibration, quiet storm. Draka's on the go. Draka's on the move. Quiet storm. Take shelter.
Most High that came to Jeremiah concerning the droughts. Judah is in mourning, her settlements languish. They are bowed to the ground, and the outcry of Jerusalem rises. Their nobles sent their servants for water. They came to the cisterns. They found no water. They returned, their vessels empty. They are shamed and humiliated. They cover their heads. Because of the ground there is dismay, for there has been no rain on the earth. The plowers are shamed, they cover their heads. Even the hind in the field forsakes her newborn fawn, because there is no grass. And the wild Donkeys stand on the bare heights, snuffing the air like jackals, their eyes pine, because there is no herbage. Though our iniquities testify against us, act, Almighty One, the highest of hosts, for the sake of your name. Though our rebellions are many, and we have sinned against you, O hope of Israel, its deliverer in time of trouble. Why are you like a stranger in the land, like a traveler who stops only for the night? Why are you like a man who is stunned, like a warrior who cannot give victory? Yet you are in our midst, O Holy One, and your name is attached to us. Do not forsake us. Thus saith the Most High concerning this people. Truly, they love to stray. They have not restrained their feet. So the Most High has no pleasure in them. Now their iniquity will be recalled, and their sin punished. And Hawah said to me, do not pray for the benefit of this people. When they fast, I will not listen to their outcry. And when they present burnt offering and grain offering, I will not accept them. I will exterminate them by war, famine, and disease. I said, my sovereign power, the prophets are saying to them, you shall not see the sword. Famine shall not come upon you, but I will give you unfailing security in this place. And the Most High replied, it is a lie that the prophets utter in my name. I have not sent them or commanded them. I have not spoken to them. A lying vision, an empty divination, the deceit of their own contriving. That is what they prophesy to you. Assuredly, thus saith the Most High concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, though I have not sent them, and who say, sword and famine shall not befall this land. Those very prophets shall perish by sword and famine. And the assembly to whom they prophesy shall be left lying in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, with none to bury them, they, their wives, their sons, and their daughters. I will pour out upon them the requital of their wickedness. And do you speak to them thus? Let my eyes run with tears, day and night, let them not cease. For my hapless people has suffered a grievous injury, a very painful wound. If I go out to the country, lo, the slain of the sword. If I enter the city, lo, those who are sick with famine, both priest and prophet roam away. They know not where. Have you then rejected Judah? Have you spurned Zion? Why have you smitten us, so that there is no cure? Why do we hope for happiness, but find no good, for a time of healing, and meet terror instead? We acknowledge our wickedness, O highest of hosts, the army of the power of Israel, the iniquity of our ancestors, for we have sinned against you. For your name's sake, do not disown us, do not dishonor your glorious throne. Remember, do not annul your covenant with us. Can any of the false gods with the little g of the nations give rain? Can the skies of themselves give showers? Only you can, O Holy One, the power of the armies of Israel. So we hope in you, for only you made all these things. Compelling evidence of a cosmic catastrophe. Dallaire told us that in his career as a researcher, he had come upon many, end quote, very strange anomalies, including massive fossil records in bone caves or the remains of countless numbers of incompatible prehistoric animals such as saber-toothed tigers, lions, wolves, bison, rhinoceroses, and mammoths were found, washed into deep subterranean recesses. We're talking incompatible prehistoric animals, massive fossil records, in bone caves. We're talking Miara. Keep that in mind. Washed into deep subterranean recesses. These were the remains of animals that perished in recent prehistory all over the world. We're just talking right here in America. Similar finds have been recorded in India, Brazil, North America, and the Balkans. Geologists have also recorded finding the remains of hundreds of humans who died from natural causes in caves, apparently seeking refuge from the catastrophe. Are we talking Kibroth Hatava, the graves of the longing, those Israelites who didn't want to eat the manna? Hundreds of humans who died from natural causes in caves, seeking refuge from catastrophe. About 100 miles north of Arches National Park, we're talking the southwest, western part of the United States. I believe Arches National Park is in Utah. The Colorado Plateaus drop off into the Uinta Basin. At the eastern end of the Uintas, straddling the Utah-Colorado boundary, is Dinosaur National Monument, famous as a dinosaur quarry. We're talking bone caves. We're not talking just any animals. We're talking so-called dinosaurs, my friend. Are we talking dracons? Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. From this graveyard, once a large sandbar and a powerful stream, have come hundreds of skeletons that have been assembled and shipped to museums all over the world. So originally, O Jacob, all these items were pillaged and packaged and shipped across the world. So the chances of us finding them, slim to none, but they're probably sitting in someone's basement, a full dracon type situation. The Morrison Formation, which is exposed in many localities in Western North America. We're talking West North America. Copper-colored cons found here in America. We're just connecting the dots, staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. The devastation proves to have been so great that earthly origin could have not been responsible. Not even a comet. They tell us it would necessarily have been very large, but it would have been magnetically powerful, upsetting the axes and orbits of various planets through magnetic influence as it moved like a pinball through our solar system. The event wreaked horrific trauma upon various planets and caused the Earth to convulse. So we've seen this before. We're talking Tecumseh stomps down every house in Tuckabatchee town, causing the Earth to convulse, they say, but amounted to nothing more than a minor incident in cosmic terms. So the Earth is convulsing, and yet scientists continue to minimize, label it as a minor incident. We're just talking Tecumseh and them. It's going down in Prophet's town. It was Tecumseh's doing. He did have natural or supernatural powers. He had to. It's almost impossible to deny. First the comet, then this. The ultimate ghost dance. Every house in Tuckabatchee is stomped down. A rattling of the whole cosmos. And the tremors kept on for weeks, as if the world might burst apart. We're talking as if the world might burst apart. Let me know what you think. Keep a note in the comments. We're talking comets. We're talking Tecumseh. We're talking the Crouching Panther. We're talking comets. We're talking Tecumseh. We're talking T'Challa, the culture hero. You know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. The Augsburg Book of Miracles. We're going to check out a couple photos from the Book of Miracles, illustrating strange and wonderful occurrences from the Great Flood described in Genesis up to the mid-16th century. This image depicts the dramatic intrusion of the cosmos into the terrestrial realm. In the year 1401, a large comet with a peacock tail appeared in the sky over Germany. Again, these are paintings, but imagine. I'm going to get into it. On my next slide, I'm going to read this drop down here. Try to make it little so you can't read it. Comets are heavenly bodies of a luminous and nebulous appearance, they say. The tableau represents some of the most remarkable comets in modern times. The comet of 1680 is stated to have had a tail 120 million miles in length with a velocity of 800,000 miles an hour. The comet of 1741 is remarkable for presenting 6 tails. The celebrated comet of 1811, we're talking the comet of 1811, the War of 1812, Tecumseh stomps down every house in Tuckabatchee town. It had a tail 123 millions of miles in length. This comet will not reappear to the year 5194. Halley's Comet was last seen in 1835. The center figure represents Donatus, magnificent comet of 1858. So take heed of these dates to the best of your ability. Talking 1741, maybe 30 years before the Declaration of Independence. The comet of 1811, impending doom of the American Indians. Tecumseh stomps down every house in Tuckabatchee town, eventually perishes in the Battle of Thames. Halley's Comet, seen in 1835. We're talking about the beginnings of the Civil War. And Donatus' magnificent comet of 1858, right before the Civil War. So these aren't just random comets. Again, we're talking causing the Earth to convulse here. It's a big deal, my friend. Robert M. Schoch contends in Voyages of the Pyramid Builders. We got into this book before. I want to say, you think about, are the Aztecs descendants of Babylon? Or did the Templars find cities of gold in Colorado? You can get the drop there too. We're talking pyramids from lost Egypt to ancient America. The geological, linguistic, and geographical evidence of a prototype civilization. A civilization that was dispersed around the globe by rising sea levels caused by a flurry of comets. Oh, Jacob. A prototype civilization that was dispersed by rising sea levels caused by a flurry of comets. As explorers started to bring home descriptions of the world from afar, science was horrified to see a picture emerging of a planet scarred by massive movements of water. The northwestern sides of whole mountains were scored as if they had been subjected to fast-moving waters. The floodwater was unmistakably the source of the scoring. Detritus presumably left behind by receding waters. This was an effect that mimicked natural actions in the real world. These drift deposits even contain the remains of animals, including the woolly mammoth. In this text, they leave out the fact that there are whole dinosaur caves in Colorado and Utah. Then came evidence that the scattered islands of the Pacific had once been home to a civilization that had stretched from the shores of Asia to the coast of South America. We're talking Nagas in Peru, man. You gotta revisit these videos. Plato's account of a lost civilization. The pyramids' impossible structure had always existed, but there was never a context in which to place them until the discoveries of ancient cities in the Pacific and then in Central and South America started to come to light. We're talking Cusco in Peru. We're talking the Olmecs in Mexico. We're talking the Mayan, the Aztecs. In the United States, though, the late 19th century job of establishing the native populations had never been influenced by foreign contact until it fell to Major John Wesley Powell, who is the creator and director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian. So John Wesley Powell, oh Jacob, is the ultimate op. He's the reason all of our mounds are dug up. He's the reason why all of our artifacts have been packaged and shipped across the world. His job was to destroy all the evidence of the civilization that was here before the so-called heathen. He is the founder and president of the Anthropological Society. So not only is he a destroyer, but he is a gatekeeper. And he ran all these organizations. We're talking very prominent organizations. The Geological Society of Washington, the founder of the National Geographic Society and Geological Society of America, and the president of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. John Wesley Powell is the ultimate op. Do your own research. He's the reason. This is the journey taken by John Wesley Powell. Again, we're talking Dinosaur National Monument on the border of Utah and Colorado. hundreds, thousands of inexplicable dinosaur bones. He traveled down the Green River to Desolation Canyon. We're going to touch on Canyonlands National Park, don't worry. And then he came down all the way through the Grand Canyon, where he finished the trail at St. Thomas, Nevada. Again, we're talking the western part of the United States. Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, California, Mexico. During the 19th century, evidence of both European presence and the existence of a prehistoric civilization was being uncovered all over North America. Powell sent out his ethnology emissaries to systematically destroy the mounds and any evidence that pointed to non-native origins, successfully eradicating the history of the North American continent. Again, let that sink in. Let's put this in perspective. We'll run that back. Existence of a prehistoric civilization was being uncovered all over North America, primarily in the mounds. Are the mound builders descendants of Abraham? Are we talking destruction on biblical proportions here? Powell sent out his ethnology emissaries to systematically destroy the mounds and any evidence they contained, successfully eradicating the history of the North American continent. John Wesley Powell is the ultimate owl. The cultures that built the pyramids and other buildings had been advanced in the arts and sciences. I had seen many beautiful things, as well as mind-tugging enigmas. He was unprepared for what he found in Villa Hermosa. Large stone heads with Negroid features and stone stelae covered with the depictions of curious ambassadors. The figures clearly were not from any Mexican culture. We're talking Villa Hermosa, large stone heads with Negro features. These figures clearly were not from any Mexican culture. We're talking the Olmecs, the Toltecs, the Aztecs. The Olmecs being labeled as the mother culture of Mexico. We're talking Montezuma, Xocoyotzin, the last of the Mexicans, man. I'm popping off on episode number 54. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. We're not of any Mexican origin. We're talking Negroid features. Montezuma, Xocoyotzin, the last of the Mexicans. Anthropologists and archaeologists admit they do not know much of anything about the Olmec culture, which is pretty convenient because if they did, or they connected them to the tribe of Israel, then they'd have to tell you what's really going on here. Thus, we don't know the ethnic group or the language. No one has any idea why they carved the helmeted heads and then buried them. So again, it's very convenient to say that they know nothing. But we know that John Wesley Powell, his boys, and I'm sure this took place in Mexico as well, destruction of the mounds and sacred structures. When we talk about the Olmecs, you don't know how hard it is to find a picture of the back of the Olmec heads. I was able to find a couple, but just let that sink in. We're talking Negroid statues with braids. The back of the statues got braids, fam. Dreads, whatever you want to call them, locks. Just take a look. Peep my man. We're talking copper-colored cons found here in America. The Bible is an extremely important document. It contains a very ancient accounting of human history. At least this is true of the book of Genesis. Do we find any reference in the Bible that might help us solve the Olmec enigma? So we're going to pause there. Again, this isn't me. I'm reading from a book. Not only did they connect the Olmecs to the Bible, but now they're saying that it's possible from Genesis that there's some connection to these so-called Olmec heads, these Negroid statues found in Mexico. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments. Turning to Genesis chapter 3, we read, in quote, "Now the whole earth used the same language and the same words. This indicates that there was a period in man's history when a global human civilization existed. Come, let us build for ourselves a city and a tower whose top will reach into heaven, and let us make for ourselves a name, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. So they're connecting the Olmecs to Genesis. Just let that sink in. They're connecting the dots for us, oh Jake. It took years to finally realize that the most probable answer was in the Bible. And ironically, the Bible was just about the last place I had thought to look. Did the Olmecs come from outer space, as some researchers have proposed? Second, the Negroid heads and the people depicted on the style are obviously human. So, did they come from outer space? Maybe, probably not. Are they the Most High's chosen people? Maybe, we don't know. But we gonna find out. Scientists have often shown a willful blindness regarding artifacts and developments they can't explain using their belief system. So again, it's convenient for them to not know anything when it doesn't align with their belief system. So again, they're just telling you they show a willful blindness regarding artifacts that they can't explain using their belief system. So if it doesn't align with their Constantine Christianity or science, it didn't exist, or it's impossible. They can't corroborate the evidence, if you will. But we're connecting the Olmecs to the Bible and the cataclysmic flood, which occurs in over 230 different cultures. Mayan history includes the story of how the Maya came from a land to the east that had been destroyed. Not only do the Maya have this, but Tecumseh's people, the Shawnee, have this. Crossing the sea, we're talking Quicula and Bequicula. We're talking Moses and Joshua. Again, you're going to have to go back into the archives to get some more background on some of the information we're talking about here. Talking story of how the Maya crossed the sea. My next destination was Yaxchilan, a ruin secreted in the jungle, about 8 miles from Bonampak. Keep that in your mind, Bonampak, Yaxchilan. Yaxchilan is situated on the river and is alleged to have been the center of the flourishing Mayan civilization. A particular mound of rocks caught Okan's trained eye. So we're talking Bonampak, Yaxchilan, and the Mayans in a particular mound of rocks. Bonampak, we're talking them so-called Mayans, them copper-colored cons found here. Again, when it doesn't align with their belief system, it gets thrown out the window. Why do they not show us these pictures of these ruins of the Mayans that look like Nagas, man? You let me know. I'm talking my man's got beaded dreads or locks or braids, man. Come on now. It's all over the walls, fam. We're talking above this detail from mural art. Bonampak depicts the Maya's warriors, jaguar skin costume, and feathered helmet. They leave out his copper-colored skin tone and his feathered crown. We're talking the Mayan gods with the little G, man. Little Nagas. Images of the Maya creator god with the little G, Izamna, were often shown with crossed eyes. Talking copper color here. The Maya god with the little G, Ixchel, was often depicted as a clawed goddess. Tezcatlipoca, unpredictable Aztec god with the little G, had counterparts among storm deities elsewhere in Mesoamerica. We're talking Tezcatlipoca. We're talking Tezcatlipoca. Again, you can't make this up, man. It's all around you. It's right in your face. You just gotta have eyes to see and ears to hear. What archaeologists had assumed was an insignificant rock pile turned out to be part of a crucial finding. A pier 12 feet high and 35 feet in diameter. Aerial photos located a second support pier. Both piers were constructed of a cast-in-place concrete with an exterior of stone masonry, which is exactly how the Mayan pyramids were made. End quote. The Maya were very sophisticated mathematically and scientifically. He claimed that the design requirements of the Mayan bridge paralleled 20th century bridge design criteria. So he's saying the Mayans were so advanced that they built bridges that could go toe-to-toe with The same bridges they built in the 20th century. So, I mean, let that sink in. We know who the Mayas are at this point. Can't make it up. We're talking Montezuma Shakoyazin, the last of the Mexicans. Today, we marvel at the ruins and speculate on how and why the Maya built the ceremonial sites. They had an accurate calendar. They understood the concept of zero. The Maya built paved roads, and as we have now learned, the longest suspension bridge in the ancient world. So keep that in mind. The advancement of the Mayas. They built paved roads and the longest suspension bridge in the ancient world, and achieved all of this in a jungle, they say. No other advanced civilization has done this. Built paved roads and the longest suspension bridge in the ancient world. The Sakbe are a system of roads that interconnect the sites. Are you following me, oh Jacob? We're really about to get into it, friends. The Sakbe are a system of roads that interconnect the sites. The roads were built up with rocks, leveled, and paved over with limestone. Keep that in mind, we're talking roads paved in limestone. The mystery is simple. Why would a Stone Age people without wheeled vehicles or dray animals need such an elaborate and sophisticated road network? So, explain to me how you say the most scientifically advanced civilization that built roads and the longest suspension bridge in the world, paved their roads with limestone, but then go in the end and say they didn't have wheeled vehicles or animals they needed to. Why would they even need such a road network? Come on now. Stop playing with me. Grand Mesa's large plumes of white limestone. So again, talking Grand Mesa in Colorado, the largest flat top mountain in the world of limestone. We're talking paved streets in limestone in Mexico. We're connecting that to Grand Mesa and the museums of Western Colorado, and evidence of prehistoric civilization found at the ranch north of Colburn. So again, the western part of North America, before the Louisiana Purchase, before the Spanish started popping off, was considered Mexico, technically. But as we've learned, who they call Mexicans today and what they were considered in the past are two totally different sets of people. So again, you gotta go deep. You gotta divide and conquer, fam. We're not out here trying to. We don't have nothing to prove, man. It's right in your face. I don't have to convince anybody of anything. Read for yourself. Evidence of a prehistoric civilization. During some excavation work, Kenny dug into a flagstone pavement laid by human hands and immediately realized that he had discovered undisputable evidence of very early inhabitants on the south slope of Battlement Mesa. The find consists of a beautiful and carefully laid pavement made of flat-hewn blocks of sandstone. The work is 8 feet below the surface of a long, gentle slope with an altitude of 7,148 feet above sea level. So again, we're talking roads. I mean, if you've ever been to Colorado, I'm sure many of you have, you might notice, some do, some don't, the altitude. Again, we're talking a mile in the sky. Colorado's 5,280 feet, or Denver's 5,280 feet above sea level. This is 7,148 feet above sea level. We're talking about cities in the sky type shit, fam. Like, come on now. At one corner of the tiled pavement was found a spring, and the stones are perfectly rounded off to form an opening through which to dip water. His excavation now is about 5 feet wide and 10 feet long. The entire work was covered with river deposit, 8 feet in thickness. Again, we're talking mud flood, palaces on top of the mountain, fam. Like, can't make this up. 4 inches thick and are matched perfectly. So this is the pavement. Again, and it's not right on top, it's beneath the earth, man. We're talking mud flood type situation. And this is 7,148 feet above sea level. Let me know what you think. Leave a note in the comments, man. I cannot make this up. We are just staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. Again, man, at this point, man, everybody that's not Israel, that's not Jacob, is cooked. It's over with, man. Come on. The outline of Grand Mesa, we're talking Grand Mesa, Colorado. We're connecting Grand Mesa and the limestone-paved roads to the Olmecs and the Mayans. And not only in Grand Mesa, Colorado, you find the image of the ancient atl-tlachanolli glyph. Again, how is an ancient Mayan glyph the image or caricature of the largest flat top mountain in the world? We're talking Grand Mesa. Now, did the Aztecs mimic Grand Mesa, or is Grand Mesa mirrored after the Aztec glyph? You tell me. This is the sky view, the atl-tlachanolli. Again, I cannot make this up. As we saw in Pope Julius's theological embarrassment over the existence of American Indians, Genesis portrayed all the world's peoples as descendants of Noah's 3 sons. The Quiche also gave the essential number of their founding families as 3, just as the Hebrews. So again, connecting the American Indians to Genesis, we're connecting the Mayans to Genesis, and we're connecting the Olmecs to Genesis. I mean, come on, man. And just as the Hebrews recounted the genealogies of their rulers in the books of Kings and Chronicles, the Aztecs, who drew much from the Maya, and the earlier Olmecs, again, the Olmecs is the mother culture. I mean, they just basically said it was Negroid heads or Naga head stones. Aztecs, we know. Come on now, American Indians, the Maya, we know, we just saw it. Tell of a world-destroying flood, much like the biblical deluge of Noah. Again, we're talking the sons of Noah. We're talking America, we're talking Beth Shemesh, house of the sun, the sons of Shem. The bedrock of the Colorado plateaus has been elevated so that much of the present land surface stands well over a mile above sea level. Again, take this into perspective. Say, for instance, you obviously can't see this far into the distance, but think about New Orleans, which is below sea level. Think about Denver, which is 5,280 feet above sea level. And then think about the ranch at Colburn, which was 7,148 feet below sea. So essentially, if you're in New Orleans, you had the vision, the distance to see. I'm talking about you're looking through the clouds, my friend. We're talking cities in the sky, bruh. Come on now. Come on now. We haven't even gotten into. Come on, bruh. Invariably, the Colorado plateaus invariably are struck by the prevalence of red-colored rocks. Reds of every hue. Pinks, light and dark, purples, orange, reds, yellows, browns. When you see them for the first time, names like pink cliffs or chocolate cliffs, red wall limestone, and the painted desert take on vivid meaning. The name Colorado itself means red colored in Spanish, man. We're talking copper colored cons in America. Come on, man. Man, this is crazy, man. Leave a note in the comments. Okay. We're going to get into it, man. We're just staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. We're talking Colorado plateaus and all these national parks in the western part of the United States, about 130,000 square miles in area. Ones we're going to focus on today. We got Zion National Park. Again, I can't make this up. Zion National Park. You got Mesa Verde. You also got the Grand Mesa, the limestone Grand Mesa. You got Moab. Again, I can't make this up. Arches National Park. Petrified Forest. We're talking the Petrified Forest. Mesa Verde National Park. Again, you can't make this up, man. We're talking the largest flat top mountain in the world, Mesa Verde. We're talking the Grand Mesa. Pre-Columbian cliff dwellings, they say. Pre-Columbian cliff dwellings. Again, Mesa Verde National Park. We got Mummy Lake in the Farview Ruins, fam. Can't make this up. Digging on it for a second. We're talking Mummy Lake in the Farview Ruins. Mesa Verde National Park, west of Durango, is in the Colorado corner of the Four Corners area. Early Spanish explorers who camped along the main coast named the feature La Mesa Verde, meaning the green table. The famous photographer with the Hayden survey, who photographed cliff dwellings in Mancos Canyon in 1874. Virginia McClurg, a New York journalist, was sent to the Four Corners area in 1882 to investigate rumors of, I quote, lost cities, fam. Talking lost cities. Her most important discovery was Balcony House, near the park's southern boundary, which was one of the last cliff dwellings occupied by the Anasazi, they say. The existence of the Pueblo ruins on the mesa top and the larger hidden cliff houses in the alcoves of inner canyons was unsuspected by non-Indians until 1888. Again, we're talking the Farview ruins. We're talking cities in the sky, oh Jacob. Farview ruins located near the center of the mesa top. Laid stone-hewn pavement, my friend. Richard Wetherell and Charles Mason happened on Glyph Palace and Spruce Tree House, fascinated by their discovery of abandoned communities, obviously occupied in the not-too-distant past. Later, after word of the discoveries had spread, they began to excavate several of the cliff dwellings. Nordenskjold published his findings in 1893 in a book entitled The Cliff Dwellings of Mesa Verde. His collection of artifacts from Mesa Verde is displayed in the Finnish National Museum in Helsinki. So again, why are the cliff dwellings in Mesa Verde, Colorado, all the way in Finland in their museum in Helsinki? You tell me. Again, John Wesley Powell, the ultimate op. There's no reason that an artifact from Mesa Verde should be in Finland. Come on now. That doesn't make any sense. In 1900, the Colorado Cliff Dwellings Association was founded by Virginia McClurg. Due to their efforts, Mesa Verde National Park was established in 1906, a World Heritage Cultural Site, one of the first 7 cities selected. Again, we've talked about this too. UNESCO World Heritage Sites, man. Look them up. Something's up with them World Heritage Sites, man. They marking them for something. One of the first 7 cities selected. We're talking the Colorado Cliff Dwellings. Let's go, man. The Cliff Dweller exhibit. We're talking about the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, man. The Cliff Dweller exhibit. You cannot make this stuff up, man. This is what you will find in the exhibit. You go into the exhibit. This is one of the exhibits, Managa. And the relics shown are some thousands of examples of the weapons, cooking utensils, implements, and mummified remains of the prehistoric people, man. Think about mummies, I mean, you typically think about Egypt, right? Then you have to ask yourself, why are there mummified people in Colorado? Then you have to ask why Colorado is connected to the Aztecs, and the Aztecs are connected to the Mayas, and the Mayas are connected to the Olmecs. Then you start to just ask a lot of questions. And then if the Mayan, the Olmecs, and the Aztecs, American Indians, are connected to Genesis, then you gotta think, is America really Egypt? I mean, you let me know. We're talking about mummified remains of the prehistoric people. And at this point, again, if you're not Israel, you're cooked. Ceremonial and other activities were carried on in the underground kivas. Also scattered over the mesa are the remains of round stone towers that may have been watch or signal towers. We're talking underground kivas, round stone towers, may have been watchtowers. Perhaps the towers were for keeping track of the sun's position so that solar observers could tell the people when plants and to harvest crops. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they were defensive positions. Who knows? We're talking Cliff Palace. We're talking about a palace in a cliff. We're talking about the Cliff Dwellers exhibit. The Cliff Palace, the largest cliff dwelling in the park, had over 200 living rooms, 23 kivas, and many storage recesses. As many as 400 people at one time lived in the complex, which had at least 8 floor levels. So it's like an apartment complex built into the side of a cliff. We're talking 200 living rooms, 8 stories, and over 400 people live in there. If you've never seen this image, we're talking Cliff Palace. Again, Coming this way, fall off the cliff, my friend. On the side of this cliff, in this little bitty crevice here, is where you will find Glyph Palace. Glyph Palace. And then you gotta be like, how the hell did they get back to the surface? Or were they literally just up under here the whole time, bro? That's crazy. Petrified Forest National Park, East Central Arizona, man. We're not done just yet, oh Jacob. Indian ruins and petroglyphs, brightly colored badlands in the painted desert. Talking petrified forest, turning wood to stone. Wood to stone. Petrified Forest National Park. In Petrified Forest National Park are thousands of jewel-like logs. So we're talking wood to stone. Broken branches, segments of tree trunks, and sparkling wood chips all have been changed from wood to stone. Wood to stone. Wood to stone. Wood to stone. The oldest Indian ruins in the park are on the flat tops. Ancestors of the Pueblo people probably lived here in a village of pit houses that are partially dug into the earth and lined with sandstone slabs. More than 2,000 years ago, they say, the inhabitants raised crops on the flat mesa tops. Nearby, south of Rainbow Forest Museum, is a Gat House, a partially restored pueblo built entirely of petrified wood. We're talking wood to stone. The first official part on the petrified wood by American explorers was made by an army of officers who led an expedition down the Zuni and Colorado rivers in 1851. So again, they just discovered most of this stuff in the last 250 years, bro. Like, they didn't know what was happening out here. They came out here. They may have found some like scattered, lingering pretendians living there, but they had no connection to the land. And that's why today you don't hear none of them bringing out no information. Come on now. The Colorado Plateau revealed that fossilized tree remains are not uncommon and found well preserved in such abundance as in Petrified Forest National Park. Nowhere else in the world are specimens found so well preserved and in such abundance as in Petrified Forest National Park. The petrified wood in the Porco region that he asked that specimens be sent to the Smithsonian Institution. So again, all of our artifacts, all of our history spread across the world. You got artifacts in the basement of the Smithsonian. You got artifacts in the Finnish Museum in Finland. You got artifacts, come on bro, just hauling them away, bro. They dug up 2 large segments and transported them by wagon to Fort Wingate. Again, they're just hauling them off. From there, the larger piece was shipped by rail to the Smithsonian, where it remains on display. Train passengers were encouraged to take excursions to Chalcedony Park, as the area was then called, to see the petrified forest. So initially, it wasn't called Petrified Forest, it was called Chalcedony Park, or Chalcedony Park. And then they changed it to Petrified Forest. Probably sounded better for tourists. Word spread, and from then on, souvenir hunters, gem collectors, and commercial jewelers began hauling away quantities of petrified wood, quartz, and amethyst crystals. Again, we've been robbed, oh Jacob. We've been robbed. Fossil wood was carted away by the wagon load when a stamp mill was erected at Adamana to crush the logs for the manufacture of abrasives, and intensified their efforts to preserve the national forest. Now, how are they going to preserve the forest? Yet, the forest is being looted at the same time. Get out of here, bro. I'm talking petrified forest. Apparently, you're not supposed to touch or take any of this stuff. Yet, you see my heathen here. He's touching it. So, you let me know what you think. Again, I can't make this up, man. Episode number 54. We're talking open doors, man. All praise to the Most High. Congress set aside Chalcedony Park as a national preserve. A paleobotanist of the U.S. Geological Survey investigated the area in 1899 and recommended the land be withdrawn from homesteading. Basically, the heathens couldn't build homes on this land. But again, everything was already robbed and looted anyway, so the difference doesn't make. In 1906, after Congress passed the Antiquities Act, President Theodore Roosevelt declared the area a national monument. In 1962, after several additions, including a part of the Painted Desert, the monument was redesignated Petrified Forest National Park. From the north-south highway through the park, the petrified forests and other geologic features, as well as Indian ruins, are easily accessible. Several overlooks in the northern part of the park provide sweeping views of the Painted Desert. In bold print, removal of petrified wood or any unauthorized materials from Petrified Forest National Park is prohibited. I just thought this was funny. You put this in bold at the end of the paragraph, but in the beginning of the paragraph, you tell us that all of the artifacts were hauled off, looted, and robbed by
And they like the front lines. They be out
random
the field.
people in the
How they get to
Smithsonian,
be
but the
the
removal of petrified
They
wood
like
and
that.
unauthorized material is
See the
prohibited.
king?
So it's only prohibited after you take what you want, and then now nobody can really even get there.
These are the
And
pawns.
come on,
They
man.
like the soldiers.
All praise to the Most High.
They
We're
move
talking
like this.
episode
One
number
space
54.
forward only.
We're talking
Except when they
open
fight.
door. Let's
It's like,
get it. Let me know what you
like
think.
this.
Leave a note in the
And
comments.
they like the front lines. They be out the field. So how do you get to be the king? It ain't like that. See, the king, stay the king. Alright? Everything stay who he is. Except for the pawns. Now if the pawn made it all the way down to the other dude's side, you get to be queen. And like I said, the queen ain't no bitch.